What are some irrational beliefs you had as a child? I thought women peed from their butts. I remember arguing with other kids about this when I was in elementary school. One of them was a girl. I was taught, like many, that Jesus lives inside me. I took that literally and assumed Jesus and the disciples were the ones who pushed my poop out. Some girl told me in kindergarten that if I kissed someone I'd get pregnant. Was scared to kiss my mom on the cheek for a month. That my parents were smart. That I was going to die from quicksand. I thought AIDS were naturally occurring. Little white splinters in the dirt that made you sick and die if you touched them. I think I must have heard a story about used syringes and came up with that. I thought that if you take a photo of someone and they have that red eyes thing, then it means there is a demon living inside them. For some reason I used to insist that 0:30 was actually midnight. My uncle told me my grandma had a witch living in her grand basement. I was fucking terrified of basements for years. I thought watermelon seeds would grow up inside me. I had a horrible fear of dream catchers when I was like 4 to 6 yo. Mum used to put them in my room, and I was scared that it'd catch all my nightmares. And if it'd break, that I'll get all those caught nightmares at once and that I'd have a heart attack and die. Grimace. Pretty weird thing for a 5 yo. Adults were competent in their activities. I used to believe no one could be born on Christmas because that was Jesus's birthday and it was reserved. My mother told me that sex was when Jesus gave women a monkey and that monkey would evolve into a baby. She told me this after I walked in on my dad and her having sex. I asked what my dad was doing there and she said, and I quote, "Helping Jesus with the monkey evolving. Thank you for listening to my crazy story." After riding the Back to the Future ride at Universal Studios, I talked myself into thinking the movie theater would lift everyone into the sky during the movie, and for months I refused to go to the movie theater. After multiple family members died in a short period of time, I believed that if I loved something too much it would leave me. Even to this day I know it's not true, but the thought is often hard to shake. Cats were girls, while dogs were boys. At night, if I wasn't out of the bathroom before the toilet stopped flushing, wolves would come out of the toilet and drag me down in it, and I would be gone forever. That belly button piercings went all the way through. Like ear piercings. Scared the hell out of me as a kid. If there was a human statue in someone's yard, it was a statue of the homeowner. One yard we passed constantly had a statue of a woman with no arms. And well, the person who lives there must have no arms. School led me to believe that I was going to have to stop, drop and roll much more than I actually have needed to in life. My leg gets cold when I have to pee. When I was a kid I thought that my leg was hollow and filled with pee because it warmed up after I went to the bathroom. My leg still gets cold, but I know it's not filled with pee. I never understood the concept of death. No matter how much my parents, uncles, aunts, preachers explained it to me, I could never get it. One day my grandpa died in front of my eyes. When we were at the funeral the next week, I asked my mom, "When's Pawpaw coming back?" Quote, she cried, "I never thought death existed. I thought you respawned. I thought it was temporary." I had no idea how my mom could see me in the back seat of the car. If I couldn't see her face, there was no way she could see what I was doing. Didn't understand the concept of mirrors. That I was going to find a girlfriend. There are Indian burial grounds everywhere, and if you walk on one, Indians will come and scalp you. When I was a kid, I didn't really understand that something had to happen in order for someone to get pregnant. I just assumed that women just randomly got pregnant at some point. That life was gonna get better. Lol. God. Any concept of religion was completely destroyed when my parents split up. I was 8. I remember thinking, what kind of BS higher power would let a child go through this? Would hold my shits for days on end because I was scared of the toilet. Thought I would get sucked in. Led to some massive shits though. That the Marx Brothers would come and abduct me if I was not a good child. That people saw in black and white before the 50s. Adults were never wrong and needed to be obeyed. Everyone that dies comes back as an animal. And I got a remote control car with a cord from the controller to the car. I cut that off assuming it could work wirelessly. I was so scared of nuclear that one day it was really foggy, and I was convinced it was smoke from a nuclear bomb. I know being afraid of nuclear war isn't irrational these days, but I was scared people had bombs in their garage that might fall off a shelf. This was also back in the 90s. All drugs are bad. Everyone who uses drugs is bad. Random people will offer you drugs to get you hooked. Marijuana is a gateway drug. Cops are your friends.